Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about the 1.5 year anniversary and I'm also going to be talking about the shop. While I know this is a bit too early, this is about a month from now, I figured to also just make a video about it now so that people start preparing for the shop. Anyways, the anniversary this time is actually not going to be as explosive compared to the first year anniversary in terms of rewards, and it actually lasts slightly shorter compared to the first year anniversary. In general, this is probably going to be the last instance where the half year anniversary is not as explosive as the full anniversary, but this anniversary is divided into three parts. So we will go through each part. Part 1 is the countdown celebration, part 2 is the celebration itself, and I guess you could say part 3 is like an after party type of celebration for the anniversary, because part 3 actually does not have that much going to it. Before we start the anniversary though, consider subscribing to the channel as it will help the channel's growth, and consider joining the community server linked in the comment section, and that is pretty much it. The first year anniversary, of course, much like every single anniversary, it has an exclusive home screen. This home screen is actually very similar to the 0.5 year anniversary, but with some small changes. This home screen is very good anyways, so I'm glad to see it coming back. Then we will have an 8 days countdown from the start of the part 1 of the celebration, where you get 150 carats on each login. So the amount of carats that you can get is 1200, which of course is nice. Then we have of course part 1 missions, which will give you an extra 500 carats, 100,000 monies. The monies might matter for newer players since the shop is more expensive compared to the first year anniversary. 70,000 support points, which of course is not really that big of an issue anymore if you have been playing for a relatively long time. 10 alarm clocks. Oh my god, that will be so good, because especially making a track is probably still going to be relevant for parenting, so you will probably still want to use some clocks for making a track, so that is nice. 2 of each and support card tickets, which of course is nice. I've already said how strong these tickets are, and accumulating them for banners is going to be very good. 10 Karu juice. This is not really a very important item, because like how many times do you really refresh your RP in team trials? Not really that much, and especially you probably only saving these for the racing carnival anyways. Then you actually get 4 book of hints and 1 textbook of hints. So if you have an Uma that wants to upgrade her hint levels, then you can put these books into use. Then we have the part 1 of the shop. The shop gets updated throughout the anniversary itself. I will give the full list after I talk about the 3 parts of the anniversary. So just know that part 1 will have some items, part 2 will have some items, and part 3 will have all the items. Then the daily shop will be updated to include all the new Umamusume that is released between the first year anniversary, including all the way until Bamboo Memory, which is the last Uma before Kapano Riki, which of course is nice. That does also include Makiani Tonhasur or Mambo, which of course is very nice. Then we have an update to the Legends race, which would put these characters into the Legends race, which of course is extremely good. For the 3 stars we have Karanchan, Marazensky, Saiyan Sky, Original Mihono Bourbon, Bayo Hayahira, Fuji Kiseki, Aisha and Flash, Ani's Digital, and Ogre Cap. As for which one to prioritize, if you're a front runner that does not have Saiyan Sky yet, this is the highest priority. Then you probably just have a subjective on your opinion. Fuji Kiseki is very good, Ogre Cap is very good for, has an ace, while also being very good as a parent. OG Marzensky is good on specific tracks, and then the rest are just subjective /Ochis. As for the 2 stars, you have Air Groove and Grass Wonder, and for the 1 stars you have Fukitaru and also Nice Nature. Keep in mind that if you haven't beat any of these Uma's Legends race prior to their initial release, then it is very recommended that you do their Legends race, then you start farming for a specific Uma just so that you can have extra carats throughout the anniversary. Moving on, we have part 2 of the 1.5 year anniversary. This is pretty much the anniversary itself because this is the major bulk and pretty much everything in the anniversary. Once part 2 starts, you will have 3000 carat gift box put straight into your gift box, which of course is very nice. That means now that the total is 4700 carats. Already a very good start. Then, unlike the previous anniversaries, it was just straight up put you to the new scenario. So once part 2 releases, we immediately get to the grand life scenario, so that is extremely nice. Moving on, stat caps now has been raised in every single scenario, which of course is nice. And having specific sparks, such as let's say you have 15 star power, will give you an extra 32 to your cap of power. So that is of course something nice to know. So pretty much stat caps will be raised starting from the grand life scenario. Next up, the best thing from this anniversary straight up, and that is Spark rerolling. I wish we had this in Bakery Track, and I really am very excited once this comes out because it will make parenting much easier. The gist of it is very simple. You finish a career, you have the option to spend 30 TP in order to see a second set of sparks in one run. So in general, if you are doing parent runs in Bakery Track, let's say you are like 5 runs in and you use TP on every single run, then you essentially did 10 runs on that day, which is extremely nice because that means that you are saving yourself a lot of clocks and you have a higher likelihood that you will get an actual decent parent compared to not getting anything. This feature alone will probably return a lot of people back to the game, and especially might potentially also do more serious parent farming, because parent farming with this is actually much easier, no go figure, and of course that is much appreciated. Then we have a couple of miscellaneous stuff, such as a new costumes for songs. We have a new song called Gaze on Me, and then we have updated like voice actors for specific songs. So a new Uma would sing a song that is not originally yet to be added, and then there will be new musics that will be added to the jukebox. Then we have 100 free pulls split between 50 estimate to I guess Taekyon and the Light Hello banner, and another 50 split between Tokai Teo and the Twin Turbo Guts. So that is of course nice if you are planning on pulling on either banners. The I guess Taekyon banner is of course more beneficial overall, but free pulls are free pulls. Then we have a free-to-play card that is going to be the Mihono Bourbon for the 1.5 year anniversary. Last anniversary was Satono Diamond. This card is not really that great of a card, but you could technically use it as parenting since it gives you Leader's Pride, both frontrunner generic skills, early lead, prudent positioning, and focus. At a hint to level 3 since this is hint to level 2, and you get one additional level as a default. So this is a very nice card if you are looking at it from a beginner parenting. Then we have part 2 login bonuses, where you could get an additional up to 3000 carats if you log in 10 days, and 2 copies for the Mihono Bourbon speed card. Then you have more secret events that will be added, more follow slots that you can follow people, and 10 extra slots to Hall of Fame. There will be also 10 of the legacy Umas that you would have that will be added. So the total will be 250 slots there, so that is nice. And then next, you have the paid banners for the 1.5 year anniversary. This would apply to all the Umas until Capano Ricky release, and for the cards it will be all the way until Manhattan Cafe Stamina. This does not include the Agias Takeon and Light Hello banner. Then they sell packs, which makes the 7,500 carats cheaper to buy, which of course if you are a spender, then this is probably something that you could look out for. Then the anniversary shop gets updated again to include new items such as the round 2 tickets for the SR banners. So that is nice. As for these have lasted for 38 days roughly on the Japanese version. Half TP cost, but the most important thing is that it is not added to the Spark rerolling. So while this is active, you still pay 30 total TP in order to Spark reroll. I've tried it myself in the Japanese version too to verify, and it does work like that. So once you start off the career, it will cost you pretty much 45 if you are looking at it from a parenting perspective, which of course is not the best thing, but that is fine. And this is also a free buff, so that is always nice. You get double the rewards in the career mode itself. If you have played on the first year anniversary, this was actually like very good time to get a lot of items, especially the sashes, because there was a lot of sashes that you could have gotten from the track blazer scenario. Now you can do it again, while making your track is still relevant for parenting. If you are missing like a couple of dirt sashes, now that is the time that you could consider doing some runs for that. Then the daily race will be increased to 6 instead of 3, which is usual. They do it very frequently. And we would have part 2 missions for the anniversary, which also gives you an additional 500 carats, 100,000 monies. Then we would have part 2 missions, which would give you 500 carats, 100,000 monies, 60,000 support points, 3 copies for the Mihono Bourbon speed card, so you can max limit break this card. Then you would get 1 shard for the rainbow fragment and 1 shard for the gold fragment. And you will get 1 rare book of hints and 1 text book of hints. So this is pretty much the part 2 anniversary, and as you can clearly see, this was a lot for the 1.5 year anniversary part 2. Unfortunately, that is not the same for part 3. As for part 3, it is not really that much. They would add additional packs. This time that is going to be the 1,500 paid carats at a cheaper price. Again, if you are a spender, then you should look out for these. The final set of the 1.5 year anniversary exclusive shop will be added, so that you should be able to buy everything if you have played at this point. And then you have the Trainer Academy part 4, which is crazy because there is no part 3 missions. They just decided to combine both, which of course is very interesting. But this is where you get the 1.5 year anniversary selector, and I would just say this, I will not cover this in this video because this one I think matters a lot more than what people think, since there is actually a lot more options compared to the first year anniversary and the 0.5 year anniversary. Then you get an additional 500 carats, and at this point you get about 8,200-ish total carats from the anniversary at this point, which of course is nice. 160,000 carats, 1 for each Uma and support card scout ticket, 1 gold shard, and then you get 1 rare book of hints and 1 rare textbook events. So that is going to be something nice. As for the anniversary shop itself, compared to the first year anniversary, there is no club point at all. This is only going to be monies and also friendship points only. Then we start off with the money, of course. The monies, you can buy 10 pleasing parfait, 1 of each book. 4 has an estimate. 4 has a rough estimate I do not know exactly the number. It's either 3 or 4. I couldn't find proper footage of this. I tried to look throughout a couple of Japanese videos, but unfortunately I can't verify this part. Just know that it's either 3 or 4. Then you can buy up to 15 alarm clocks. So once you buy the 10 over here, it gets updated and you can buy an additional 5, which is nice. Then you can get 10 Karajus, which of course is nice, but you don't really use these as often. And then you can actually get up to 15 of these TP bottles from the shop, which of course is very nice. Especially with the release of Spark Rerolling, you will probably burn a lot more of TP bottles if you have some. As for the friendship version, you can buy one of each book, one of each Uma and support card scout ticket, up to 8 alarm clocks, so the total now is 23. Then you can buy one of each round 2 SR guaranteed debut tickets. These sometimes could give you an SSR, so you never know. In terms of these, I will probably prioritize these two last because the shop itself is overall slightly better and these two are very expensive. As for the last item, you could buy up to an additional 8 TB bottles, which of course is nice. As for the total, you can see the total over here. You get 2 of each book, 5 or 4 of the support card and Uma scout ticket, 23 of the alarm clock, and 23 for the TP juice, which of course is nice, and 1 of each Uma and debut scout ticket round 2, which of course is going to be nice. This is not as big as the first year anniversary, but this is still good regardless. Lastly, this is going to be the entire list of the items that you get if you have done the story event, because this is technically a part 2 of the anniversary. I will also include it so that the carat number reaches 5 digits, so that the anniversary does not feel depressing. So yeah, but anyways, this is the entire list of the rewards. As you clearly see, roughly an estimate of 10,000 carats, about 600,000 monies, about 250,000 support points, 55 of the alarm clocks, plus the roulette, depending on how much roulettes that you would end up doing, which of course is very nice. Then you get 15 regular books. This means that you can straight up max a character's hint level for a single common skill, which of course is good. 10 textbook events, 6 rare book events, which is the biggest bottleneck right now, and then 4 of the rare textbook events, so that is nice. 18 pleasing parfait, 30 of the TB bottles, which of course is nice, 4 rainbow fragments, 5 gold fragments. Then you get about 9 of each Uma and support card scout ticket. Then you get 1 ticket for the round 2 Uma scout ticket and for the support card, so that is nice. And then you get the 1.5 year anniversary selector, so overall nice. But I want to quickly mention one last thing before I end this video, is that starting from the next story event coming onto the global version, we will get buff the track that will actually increase the amount of clocks that we will get from the event point progress track. That will make it so that you get, instead of 12 alarm clocks, you get 24. So that is additional 12 clocks, which of course is nice. I figured to say this so that if anybody has their alarm clock situation completely grim, know that starting from the next story event, there might be a small chance that you can make some comeback for the alarm clocks. Overall though, the 1.5 year anniversary is definitely not the best anniversary ever in terms of overall quality, but I think in general the fact that you escape the make a new track scenario and also get spark rerolling would definitely make the game feel a much better experience. And you never know, the 0.5 year anniversary was very explosive. Maybe the 1.5 year anniversary could also be explosive because in the Grand Life scenario, they actually update the URA finale scenario, and then 1 month later, they would also update the Unity Cup scenario. So who knows? Maybe they add auto with the release of updated URA finale scenario, but who knows? This is pretty much it. This is the 1.5 year anniversary. While yes, this is earlier than usual, I figured to make it now so that you guys get a good idea with the shop, and that I'm also going to be probably busy with exams starting from this video's upload, and that's pretty much it. If you found this video to be helpful, consider subscribing and consider joining the community server, link in the comment section, and I hope to see you in the next one.